Hello and welcome to Pisces Moon Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Kate Leonard, and I'm excited to explore the stars with you. Hello everyone, and welcome to the week of June 29th through July 5th. Oh my gosh, we are into summer already, aren't we? Well, the good news is I have another pretty good week. Not maybe as straightforwardly good as the last couple, but pretty good, pretty good. So stay with me. We're going to be talking about the Mercury opposition to Pluto, which is going to be one of those longer stories because it happens on the same day that Mercury enters his retrograde shadow. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And then we're going to talk about, toward the end of the week, Venus meeting up with Uranus, the planet of rebellion, unexpected change, and individuality. So this is quite a week. It's really different from start to finish, but it's big. It's very, very big, and I think a lot of good stuff can come from it. So before we get into all of that, thank you for being here. I'm always so excited to share the stars with you, and I'm just really grateful for everyone who listens. I would like to ask you if you would once again leave comments, leave ratings on whatever app you're listening to me on, and please share, do all those things, and let's get these numbers back up to where they were before I got sick. So anyway, I may still have a little bit of a weird voice. I hope you'll excuse that, and enough of all this. Let's get into it. So here are the specifics. Actually, before we start this week, on June 28th, Mercury begins his opposition to Pluto. Very, very big deal. We'll talk about it. But then we start this week on the 29th, where Mercury enters his retrograde shadow. I'll talk to you about what that means too, but he's entering his shadow while opposing Pluto. That means he's going to go back and forth over this territory. And so whatever storyline starts this week, yeah, it's not going to be finished this week. That's for sure. Then we get toward the other side of the week, and on July 3rd, we've got Venus, the goddess of love and all good things, sitting in the lap of rebellious Uranus. This is super exciting, especially when we consider that whatever love thing, whatever relationship thing starts on the 3rd, the very next day on July 4th, happy July 4th to Americans, Venus is going to enter into social Gemini. So whatever starts on the 3rd, yeah, we're going to be taking that stuff public by the very next day. What else is going on in the sky? Honestly, not a whole lot. Those are the biggies, the things that I'm going to be talking about today. We do have on July 4th, we've got Neptune in Aries stationing to go retrograde. So this is a very, very big deal, partly because Neptune doing anything, I don't like Neptune. Neptune doing anything is a really big deal, and we'll talk about that later, not on this episode, but we will talk about it. What I do want to give you a heads up about, though, is by the end of the month, we are going to have Mercury, Neptune, and Saturn all turn retrograde. Oh, and Chiron, the wounded healer, also turning retrograde. And Pluto's already retrograde. So this month, we are getting a whole lot of backward motion. And that always means a lot of doing over and rethinking and all of that kind of stuff. So hold on for it. It's a big deal. We'll take it sort of one step at a time, but I just wanted to give you that little heads up that we are heading into major retrograde territory. But let's start with Mercury and Pluto. Like I said, on the 28th, so, the day before this weekly forecast starts, Mercury is going to oppose Pluto. That is always a power struggle, opposition, standing up to some power figure, power situation, power dynamic. And Mercury is about our thoughts and our communication. So what may be challenged this week is our thinking, our thoughts, our ideas. We may enter the week with some authority figure or power figure really challenging some of our ideas, maybe also challenging what we're saying or how we're talking. So think that thought police kind of thing. But Mercury is actually in a stronger position. Mercury's in Leo. Leo is a ruler. Mercury's in a pretty good position. He normally wouldn't be stronger than Pluto, but Pluto's retrograde. So first, we have to consider that we have two power positions. Pluto, just because he's Pluto, he's in Aquarius retrograde. And Mercury, because he's in Leo, which is also that leadership energy. So there's going to be some kind of challenge about status, maybe like one king trying to dethrone the other. The way through this is to keep your wits about you. The way through this is going to be clear communication, confidence in your own ideas. This is the way to battle Pluto on this one. The other thing that Mercury can be is the workplace. So there could be problems with an authority figure at work. So just be aware of that. But nevertheless, however it shows up, it is going to be conquered by clear thinking and clear direct communication. Stand in your power, express yourself, and you will win-ish. You will win-ish. And the reason I say that is because remember, on the 29th, Mercury's entering his retrograde shadow. That's going to be at 4 degrees Leo. So he's going to be facing off with Pluto. And then he's going to keep moving forward in Leo till he hits 15 degrees. Then he's going to station and he'll be retrograding back. That's going to be around July 17th. He's going to retrace his steps through August 11th when he comes back to that 4th degree of Leo. I hope that's not too many numbers. I hope that all makes sense. Just know that he's going to move forward in Leo and then he's going to come all the way back to where he faced off with Pluto. We're going to feel like we've moved on from this power or whatever it is. And then we're going to come back and have to deal with some aspect of it again. Then finally, we will move forward and get to move on. But he doesn't actually leave his retrograde shadow, the final piece of it, until August 25th. So whatever is going on in this, just know that there's going to be a little bit of a dance with it, right? It's not going to be something that we just like one and done. It might feel that way, however. It might feel that way. So just know, something about it is coming back around later. Oh, I do want to give you one other little warning about this opposition. Pluto has to do with bringing things that are buried deep. He brings them into the light. What could that mean when we're in an opposition? It could mean that somebody's telling your secrets. So be aware of that. There may be some backstabby stuff in this. One of the ways that this person may try to win is by bringing out something that you didn't mean to bring out into the public. So do be aware that confidences could be betrayed. Pluto's not a nice guy. You know what I mean? He's just not a happy camper kind of guy. And there may be something he knows. You may have shared something with this Pluto figure at some point that he makes public when you didn't want it to be so. So that might be a little dirty trick to watch out for. Oh, and the other thing, though, to remember, so let's end on a good note with Pluto. Well, a good-ish note. Again, I'm going to go back to the ish. Once you're completely done with this story, it is very likely that you'll have gone through some kind of deep transformation that's really positive. And when we're dealing with power issues, that transformation could have to do with just feeling much more secure and stable in your own power. So the silver lining really is that usually there's a positive transformation that's very deep and very real and very important that comes out of experiences with Pluto. So that's the good part. Okay, so even though this is an ongoing story, as I've already said, we're going to be feeling this most intensely at the early part of the week. By midweek, July 3rd, although maybe even a day or two earlier, we are going to be experiencing Venus, the goddess of love and all good things, who's in Taurus, a sign that she rules. And you know what I always say, when a planet is in a sign of their own rulership, this is like the queen on her throne. She's in her own kingdom. She has all of her resources available. She is extra, extra strong. So for Venus, that's awesome. She's already one of the benefic planets. And with her in her kingdom, she's even better. So on the 3rd, who's she meeting? Rebel god Uranus. Uranus is neither a good nor a bad planet. He brings unexpected change. He's the rebel. He breaks out of the ties that bind us. He's the nonconformist. He's the planet that invites us or makes us walk to our own beat. So he's neither good nor bad. This disruption that he brings can be really, really difficult, actually, like a little bit like the earth is shaking, or it can be amazing. It really can go either way. But with him connecting to Venus, I am telling you, I really think this is going to be good. It might be shocking, big surprise, unexpected. There may be that level of sort of crazy that comes with all of that. But ultimately, I'm expecting good. Venus rules all relationships. She rules women and sisters and luxury and comfort, especially in Taurus. She rules comfort. So meeting up with Uranus, you might find that you're uncomfortable for a little minute. It's not going to be a bad thing, so don't freak out. But you might find that you've let yourself get comfortable in a way that's not really good for you. You know how some relationships can be really like, no, there's no passion, there's no sparks going off, but you're so sort of just comfortable in the relationship that you don't question it. Or if you question it very quietly, and you just leave it alone because it's comfortable. It's easy. Taurus loves that. Uranus, however, is like, no, not having any of this. And Uranus is at that important 29th degree. I've told you guys before, I talk about this all the time. A planet at 29 degrees is super active. He's getting ready to get out of Taurus very soon, right? So he's feeling this like rush to like, it's my last opportunity to get all my Uranus stuff done in this sign because I'm moving on. So Uranus is like, no, I'm not going to just let you sit in your comfort zone. If this relationship is boring or needs revised or needs turned on its head some way, somehow, then we're going to do that stuff. So there could be some discomfort, but go with it. I promise you, ultimately, this is going to be good. So what kind of good could we be looking at? With Uranus, hard to say. Uranus is unexpected change. So it could be that you and your partner have been together, cruising along the way you are for a certain amount of time, and then suddenly the marriage proposal comes, or the, hey, let's take this to the next level, or let's revise our relationship in some way. And Uranus is the individual and the rebel, right? So it may be like, we've kind of made our marriage or our relationship, whatever it is, kind of just the way everybody else does. Like relationships are expected to be a certain way, and we've kind of gone along with that. And maybe we don't want it like this anymore. If we've always been monogamous, maybe we want an open relationship. if we've always been open. Maybe we want monogamy and want to get the white dress and walk the aisle. I don't know, but it'll be change. It'll be unexpected. It'll be big, but it's more likely to be the kind that goes into the quirky zone. It's less likely just to be the sort of traditional walk down the aisle thing. It could be. Don't get me wrong. It could be if that's different from what you've been dealing with already or how you've been navigating your relationship already. Like, no, we're not going to get married, blah, blah. You might decide to. But you'll probably do something quirky at your wedding. I'm telling you, probably. The other thing that this could be is somebody just coming out of the blue. You're squeezing the tomatoes at the grocery store and fall madly in love with the UPS guy who walks through. It could be, you're at the bus stop and it ends up that the person sitting next to you strikes up a conversation and you fall madly in love, right? It could also be somebody talking about redefining relationships. It could be somebody like, that person who's been your best friend forever and always, all of a sudden is a little bit more than a friend, right? Oops, who expected that? Well, Uranus did. That's who. Venus doesn't only rule love, so please apply this to whatever. Look at what house is occupied by Taurus. This could have to do with self-identity. Oh, and Venus also rules things like art. So you artists, and I know I have a lot of creative people who listen to me, you artists and writers and actors and content creators, all of you may find that you are just ready to bust out of the box and get, really into your own unique voice and bring forth your very unique, one of a kind vision. Maybe in the past, you've been a little bit in that rut of trying to deliver what's expected, what people want, maybe what you've always written or painted or created, whatever. And suddenly you're just like, yeah, I'm not about that anymore. I'm about this other whole thing and I've got a message and it's mine and I'm going to get it out there, right? So this doesn't only have to be about love relationships, but for a lot of us, it will be. So here's another little interesting bit about the end of this week. So we get this, unexpected, ground shaking event with this Venus Uranus meetup. And the very next day, happy 4th of July for my American listeners, Venus moves into very social Gemini. This is kind of interesting because it follows right on the heels of that Uranus shakeup thing that's going on. It's almost like whatever happens fast with Venus. And by the very next day, we're already ready to make announcements or introduce people to friends and family or, be out socializing like this new love of mine. We're going to go, have drinks with all of my besties, something like that. There's something very social that kicks in right after whatever the shakeup is. The other thing that it could mean is just lots and lots and lots of talking, lots of communication. And those times, and I know for all of us, this is not going to be new love, but it's going to be for many people, if it's not new love in the sense of a new person, it will be a new phase. And it's going to have that feeling of like, I know we've all done this. Please tell me we've all done this, or else I'm going to be saying something really embarrassing. But that first in love thing where you're just on the phone. I guess now it's texting. Back in my day, it was on the phone. Or you're on the phone with each other way into the night and you're exhausted, but you just want to keep talking. And it's that, no, you hang up. No, you hang up first. That thing. Did you guys do that thing? I did it. Oh my gosh, so embarrassing. Anywho, get ready to be embarrassed again. Because when Venus goes into Gemini, Gemini is social. Gemini likes to talk. So expect a kind of whirlwind, right? Expect a lot of getting to know each other kind of fast, right? Because you're going to be, talking a lot. But also just expect some fun. Whatever this is, it goes from the intensity of that Uranus shakeup into social, into that party time, people time. I kind of love it. Do you love it? I do too. And if it's not about love for you, again, if it's about art, it'll be getting together with other artists or your fans or whatever it is and sharing your ideas, talking about them, sharing your art, whatever it is. It'll still have that vibe to it. Does that make sense? I really hope it does. So it's an intense week. I'm not going to lie. Uranus is no small beans. This shakeup is going to be a big deal. And of course, the week starts with that Pluto stuff, getting ready for Mercury retrograde. But somehow, maybe I'm being too optimistic, but I don't think so. I really think this is big. And I think that ultimately it's going to play out really well. I think we're going to be empowered. I think we're going to be in a new situation with whatever this Venus aspect of our life is. And I think we're going to be having fun with that. So what could be better, really? Anyway, I know this has gone really long and my voice is still really bad. So that's probably been torture to listen. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing and, like I said, rating me high in whatever the app is and doing all the stuff. I'm super grateful. I couldn't grow this program without you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And until next week, go out and seize the energies of the stars. This is my wish for you always, and even more so when Venus is involved. So until then, I will see you on the other end. Bye.